So I think your knowledge of hunger is not yet fulfilled. So I am here, there. So I'm an Android app developer with 2 years of experience and open source contributor and freelancer, and also a popular show, India's Got Talent winner, latestly. So I'll be sharing my tips and my journey, and with the help of cybersecurity and AI automation. So let's get started. So this is the outline of the session. So what is the current state of cybersecurity? So I want you to not forget this session in just 40 minutes. I want you to have a big impact with this session for next 5 years, because the way AI is transforming every field, it is also changing the field of cybersecurity too. So you are going to learn a lot during this session. So there are many challenges which the traditional cybersecurity is facing. So I am here to guide you through all the traditional ways and teach you the new ways which we as in cybersecurity experts are using. So we have analysis of recent data breaches. We have challenges with cybersecurity approaches. Then big data, because without big data, AI is nothing. AI is just based on data which is trained on models. So yeah. Then we have AI power security solutions and solutions also, practical application in tools, and large language models in cybersecurity. So I don't really believe in theory-based study, right? So I'll also be showing technical tools, and also I have created threat analysis model, which I'll be showing during this session, because as me as a speaker here, I have learned with the help of skills, and I don't believe much in theory-based approach. And I'm in first year of my college, and I'm leading my cybersecurity council, and also I'm helping other organization build a solution with the help of cybersecurity, right? So let's get into it. So human error. So human error as a cause of data breaches. So humans have a lot of falls and downfalls by themselves only. So AI is going to integrate and solve these. So we are going to learn about the causes of data breaches, right? So how data breaches are affecting cybersecurity. So Stanford University found that 88% of cybersecurity breaches happens because of human error, because humans are built with errors. as you know, human have limitation. They have limitation to their capabilities. They can work 8 hours a day, not more, or else their downfall will start in the work, you can see. And IBM's 2023 cost breach report reported that 95% of security breaches happens because of human error. So I think it is a really big issue which we are currently facing in all industries. And also we also have the solution, as you know. And there is Verizon's 2024 data breach investigation report, which says that 68% of data breaches involved are non-malicious human element, including falling for phishing scam and making errors. So you have so many employees in companies, so it's hard to see that what each employee is working on. So we are going to also learn about the endpoints automation using AI. So let's get started with the problems with traditional cybersecurity. Human emotions and fatigue, as I said. Human emotion and fatigue plays a big role in it. And there's manual processing. Manual processing means manually scanning through the data and using tools like Burp Suite, which has a lot of problems in it by default, right? You may miss some of the vulnerabilities. So let's skill gap is also another issue. You never know if the person is up to the skill that you want to recruit in your organization. So with the meme, you can understand humans after making error. I am just a chill guy. So the solution is AI, and AI, definitely. So let's learn about the application which we are currently using with the AI. So in healthcare, we can see by analyzing the traditional and the previous logs of the patient, we can determine the medicine and we can provide it with the right solution. And then there is business, which AI is most used in. For customer services, we provide we use ML by searching the historical data and by learning by user experience and providing them with the best experience as possible. Then risk analysis is another field. Then in transport and logistics, for route planning for the efficient use of petrol, we can use AI, right? And then self-driving cars. we are going to learn a lot about reinforcement learning, which is learning based on punishments and based on rewards. So if a car, for let's say you imagine a car, it's going and then it hits a vehicle, it gets a minus point, which is its punishment according to reinforcement learning, right? And then there is education, smart tutoring and all. There are a lot of personalized learning, like other companies are using to provide the best for best material according to their students. So let's see, in cybersecurity, it's game changing because threat detection, access control, and fraud preventions are big issues. And every day you can see in newspaper articles like thousands of people are losing lakhs of money, 40 lakh dupe and all. You can see every day in newspapers. Yeah. So AI adoption across different sectors. So in cybersecurity, how many of you are cybersecurity experts here? And others are students in other fields? Okay. So in so I asked this question in Google Developer Conference. I got a lot of interesting result in it, that most of the people were developers. So almost every developer is scared that AI will replace them. But in the field of cybersecurity, the game is different, because cybersecurity, you need a person to actually look at it and also make the model more perfect in it, right? And in cloud computing DevOps, we can see the analysis. The current adoption plan is highest in cybersecurity too. It is like at least people are using it. It is not impacted, and I mean, architecture isn't implemented yet. Yeah, in every company, it's just that some people are using it. Yeah, the data is provided by Gartner, and it is combined data of all the companies there. So big data is a game changer. As I said, that big data is a very important perspective in AI. So big data is just complex data, which is vast amount of data, which the real-time databases process and analyze and then distribute. Then as we said, AI is nothing without data. We can use big data to harness capabilities of cybersecurity. Then there's big data, how we can use big data in artificial intelligence and machine learning to interpret into cybersecurity. So with AI technologies, we use neural networks, natural language processing, computer vision, and different other genres. And in ML, we use supervised learning, unsupervised learning, deep learning, and reinforcement learning. We are going to understand it all in detail, and then we are going to apply slowly in cybersecurity. And also, I'm going to show the tools, as I said. So the real-time threat detection, we can use it in. So in behavior analysis, we are going to use it in. And automated response, predictive analysis, anomaly detection is really important in risk assessment. So let's get further. So what are the big V's of big data? So big V's means volume, velocity, veracity, and variety. So large volume of data is generated each and every second. Like social media feed, you can see thousands of posts are generating. So it's hard for the traditional cybersecurity to actually manage vast amount of data. And there you can see the velocity of how fast the data is generating. How fast, like each second, thousands, lakhs of billions of data is generating. And then there's variety. Variety, some data structured and raw analysis. So in cybersecurity, you can look at it as network anomaly data, and there is risk network data, and there is a log. Application has lot of logs. So those are the different datas, and when we put together and normalize it a traditional way, it doesn't recognize patterns, right? So it is really ineffective to use the normal way. So, and then veracity means consistency of data. It is also a downfall in the field of AI also, a negative point here, because veracity means consistency of data. And in cybersecurity, there is a lot of data which can be fraud. Yeah, you cannot detect it whether it is real or true. So it can contribute to model biases. So big data application in cybersecurity. Threat intelligence, as you know, one of the most significant application of big data in cybersecurity is threat intelligence. It involves collecting huge amount of data from different sources, whether it be public source or it may be forums, developer forums, and the most first way to get the first viruses and malware are generated in dark web. So using threat analysis, we can also integrate into it into the dark web too, and also public sources. But we have to check whether the data is authentic, and we can also scrape the data from different website. So this is the workflow of AI-powered threat intelligence. So the data is collection of data. Then the next step is processing of data. And the next, after that step is intelligence generation. And then you can action layer when you can respond it by any method. So after that, we can also give it a distributed report. Maybe you are having an organization in which the founders may need to know in a non-technical way. So you can use LLM models to generate the report of each assessment and with the threat intelligence by providing a report to the founders so they can easily understand. So you can look at the sources. As I said, public sources can be anything, and then the data is processed and analyzed using ML model, of course. Then a pattern is created. So let's move on. Behavior analysis. It is also a very critical part in AI analysis, because it is most important to recognize the pattern of normal behavior by user activity and logs, insider threats, as I said before. A lot of breaches happens because of insider threats. So behavior analysis, we can integrate it in. So how we can use it in? We can use it in endpoints. Maybe you are having devices, and as a founder, I would like to see how much devices, if you click on a phishing email. So I would like to know how much data is breaching. So we can have a forecast about it. This was about threat intelligence, threat analysis. Then log analysis. Every app and website and server generates logs, and by detecting the parameters of logs, we can decide whether the data is anomalous or by anomaly data we mean the data which is which is deviated from the original data. So every data generates logs, storing it, analyzing it. So I have put a log in Android Studios, as I'm an Android developer, so I need this log. So by detecting it and analyzing it through the features that we have mentioned earlier, we can find the patterns between it, and we can also implement it later on and find the errors within it. So let's get further. Then anomaly detection, as we said, right? Unusual behavior in networks. Maybe a network may be having a different person and an unauthorized person. So we will be using anomaly detection such as ML statistical analysis to identify patterns and trends according to it. And tools and techniques which we are going to use for it is AI and ML, of course. And then we have predictive analysis based on the historical data and identifying patterns. We can indicate the future threats. Then we have data visualization, which is really important to visualize the data. So this is how a model works, right? Every model works, right? So I'll explain how data is working and big data, and it is applying in AI and ML. So because it is important to know how it is working to actually apply in cybersecurity, right? So we'll learn about it. So ML is nothing but a subset of AI, and deep learning is nothing but a subset of ML. So machine learning is just a recognition of historical data, as I said. And a ML model can be trained by 4 steps. There are 4 ways to train a model. One is supervised learning, unsupervised learning, semi-supervised learning, and there is reinforcement learning. So what is supervised learning? So we'll understand the supervised learning. So you label a data. You say that this is a malware, this is a phishing, or this may be a anomaly. So you are basically classifying it. And based on the classification, it checks the patterns and accordingly classify into different classes. Then there is unsupervised learning. Unsupervised learning means learning which is based on recognition. Maybe you may be having oranges. You can identify it by looking it. The same way is unsupervised learning, because you are understanding just by looking how it is in looks and in patterns. So you don't need to classify anything. It will put it into classes by itself. And what is semi-supervised learning? Semi-supervised learning is nothing but addition of both supervised and unsupervised learning. So with supervised learning, we are classifying it, and then with the help of unsupervised learning, we are going to advance it further in it. And then we have reinforcement learning, as we said in the example of maybe an AI-driven car, right? Self-driving car. So basically, if it hits, it get negative point, and if it actually doesn't hit, it get a positive point. So based upon that, it will increase its accuracy over the time, right? So that's how general AI, it is AI in a nutshell. So and that was it. And then AI automation in cybersecurity, right? Cybersecurity threats are increasing in volume and complexity, making it analysis to keep pace with the evolving threat landscape. To address this, we have automating cybersecurity processes. So how it works is, we detect the threat, we analyze it, and then mitigate the risk. So this is how we have already learned how much of the things are working. So you can put it to all together, how the model is working. So how we are going to use it in security, information, and event management SIEM. So the key aim is to correlate data of security from multiple sources. So after we get the data, after detecting it, we can correlate the data with the data we have. So with correlating it, it can find the accuracy between it. So the data is collected from multiple sources in the organization within firewalls, servers, application, and other network devices. So SIEM is used almost everywhere nowadays. So what's the addition with the help of AI? So as I said, the threat intelligence. So as why I explained AI before is, now you can put together how we can use it actually in SIEM. So by forecasting, as I said, by forecasting how the threat is analyzing using the threat intelligence from multiple public sources and also the organization, we can integrate SIEM in a better way. Yeah, right. You also have tool like Wazoo, which is an open source, and it is really nice. You can try it out. And then we have intrusion prevention and detection system, right? So what is intrusion detection and prevention system? Nowadays, every organization is using it. So there is two type of intrusion detection system. One is system-based intrusion detection system, and there is host-based intrusion detection system. So what is system-based? System-based intrusion detection system is using the system or the device, actually endpoint, which we have mentioned earlier. So it is using it to actually detect the malware or the unauthorized access. And what prevention system can do? Prevention system can use the automated response by mitigating the risk of it, right? And then we were talking about the second type of intrusion detection system, which is network-based intrusion detection system. So we'll also be seeing the live example of the intrusion detection system, network-based, and we are also going to find the anomalies. So phishing detection. So in email detection also, email cybersecurity, there are a lot of changes which are going to happen in future. So the one is phishing detection, right? Or we can automatically use the ML, which we have studied before, to actually infuse phishing detection and dissects email with Acumen. So this is an example of an email. So this is a phishing email, right? But still the attacker has used it. It doesn't even go to spam box. But if we use AI in it, we can automatically identify the latest trends or the zero-day malware. So which is actually affecting the organization. So this is the fake email which is new, which you have already seen, right? But using the AI, we can actually integrate it. And even many companies, big companies, top companies, are going to integrate it. So you don't need to create your own models for this. Then vulnerability management. So by scanning and suggesting remedies, scanning, prioritizing, and suggesting remedies. So we take the vulnerability, it prioritizes it according to its risk, then we use ML to find the vulnerability and actually remediate it and mitigate the risk. And we can also use language processing, right? Because most of the vulnerabilities which we find are actually connected to neural language processing. So what does it does at the end? So it actually specifies and normalizes it. Like we understand English, so it can also understand the same language and identify it. Maybe the hacker is using a different language, so it can detect it. So you don't need any variables and all, but you can also use natural language processing. As I said, for the email identification, how will the LLM model actually understand, or the AI actually understand that it is causing a problem? It will understand by actually reading it and actually seeing the language of it and correlating the data and then mitigating it. So SOR, security, orchestration, automation, and response, right? So AI is going to automate it also by threat hunting and compliance tasks. So hunting is like threat intelligence, but actually we are going to hunt the malware by actually doing it, right? So it is SOR is like collection of all the previous system intrusion detection and all, and it is collection of all to actually correlate it, right? So real life application, Bayesian networks. So Bayesian networks is an network which is very complex and it has a lot of mathematics in it. We will not get into it details, but you can use the tools for it, and you can actually build it to actually identify the anomalies in your network by itself. Anomaly detection algorithm. As we talked before in the session about the anomaly detection algorithm, we can use isolation forest. And if you know AI in detail, what I'm saying is it's a way of training the model, random forest and all. So you can use the scikit by a Python in Python library. So it's really good if you know Python. You can easily apply all of the things there. So casual impact analysis, we'll not get into it in detail because we have limited time and we have cross validation, right? So challenges in using AI. So there are a lot of challenges also which we can tackle by fine tuning it in the best way possible and getting the accuracy right. But still in cybersecurity, there are some things that we have to keep track of, like data quantity. First is data quantity and quality. So there, as I specified before, right, that lot of data can be fraud and all. So that data can actually affect the model real time while using it. So it is really important to maintain the data quality. So that's why it is important to keep a data analyst within cybersecurity team to actually verifying the model and also take the accountability of it, because who will be responsible if AI causes an error and any other malicious activity or some malicious unauthorized person can also misuse it by using SQL injection and also jailbreaks. As you can see, a lot of ChatGPT models and all were jailbreak before. So we have to keep a data analyst and also scale up our cybersecurity team with the right tools so that we can actually implement it into our organization. And then there's false negative and false positive management. So false negative is you can understand by the example. False positive is finding something which actually wasn't a threat, but it actually shows that it is a threat, right? So it can happen a lot during training the model, false negative and false positive. So it is really important to train the model the right way so we can avoid it, and also keep the responsibility and accountability, as I said before. And also there is model bias. Nowadays model are also being very biased based on targeting a specifying group. It can target with their previous history. So we have to keep certain limitation and regulation to use it so that we can use it in the best way. Yeah. So false negative and false positive, you can say. Who is responsible? right? Natural language processing for security logs. So as we said, natural language processing is plays a big role in cybersecurity and in other field too, as we can use its capability to harness and identify text and identify indicators of security incidents or breaches. So even it can read the logs, right? As we said, it can read normal logs of our application. Maybe it may be Android Studios, it may be Unity, or any other thing or tools you might be using. It can analyze it and detect. It doesn't depend upon the platform, but it can be multi-platform too. That's the beauty of AI, right? It is multi-platform. You don't need a developer for each. You need cybersecurity person for each of the domain, but you need an centralized cybersecurity to manage it all. So that's the beauty of creating a good model. And LLMs for cybersecurity. So LLMs are large language models which are trained on transformer architecture. So it is also a very big thing, or we need to study in detail. We use deep learning for actually creating LLMs. So we can train model with large amount of data, and then we can analyze it. Then we can distribute it. That's how a LLM works in. And also, as we discussed before, that we are using LLM for various tasks, such as the best tasks we can use it in is in organization efficiency. By actually, for example, you can imagine you got a thread in your organization and you have to explain the report to the founders. As I said, LLM is the best solution for it. It can generate the logs. You can train it on your own data. And also with that, you can also integrate it with other data sources also, like GitHub Copilot, which is trained on GitHub basically. So it can help you a lot in your organization. So you can see how it is working in action. You get security logs. You identify a pattern, then you give a threat alert. You read the network traffic. You have vulnerability detection. Then incident report. You are reporting the incident. Then threat intelligence, you have risk assessment, and then response plan. So it basically help you as a response planner for your organization. For vulnerability discovery, as I said, it is a very slow process to actually manually identifying vulnerabilities in your application or in your source code, right? Because there are two ways, static and dynamic ways to identify vulnerabilities. If I'm an app developer, I will be statically manually reading the code to identify the vulnerability, or else I will be using input or some variables to actually correlate the data to find it. So LLM, I think, is also a best way to integrating it with, so we can apply it in our source code and organization. So we can understand how what is the vulnerability in our code and how we can identify and mitigate the risk. So advanced authentication and access control. We can also use behavior analysis, as I said before, for analyzing patterns. Speed typing, maybe a user may be typing at speed, or it may be using unusual DOS attack to actually attacking the organization. So how we can do it is by behavior biometrics, right? Behavior biometrics. So it's for continuous authentication. If a person tries to write 30 different password at 1 second, we can identify it through behavior biometrics. In simple words, in layman language, context-aware security policies. So it can also read the security policies and according to it respond to the user behavior or the threat environment. So it can also be used for interfaces for security tools. Simplified access. LLMs can be integrated into security tools to allow natural language queries. So as I said before, the plain language, plain text, and it can make an actionable plan. So even a non-technical person in an organization can understand it and based on that, give a response. Enhanced user experience for less technical person, as I said. Then we have weakness of LLMs. So with the OSWAP have reported some weaknesses of LLMs in actually integrating it in cybersecurity. So as I said, prompt injection. So you can write a different line of codes and prompt maybe to actually get the wrong output, or the output which is not in the favor of organization, it is in the favor of attacker. And insecure output handling is also correlated with and training data poisoning. So it is also a big factor. If you are giving it the wrong responses, maybe you are having more healthy person in real life than the unhealthy person, so it will automatically be biased toward the healthy person. So data poisoning is also a really big issue in LLM. Model denial of services. So you can also have DOS attacks on the models. So it is also an issue, right? Secure supply chain vulnerabilities also are there. So yeah, that was it for the vulnerability. So you can try and create your own cybersecurity tools. You are mostly just listening to a session now, but you can also create your own using the ChatGPT AI API and also Claude API. And how I did it is to create simple automation in task. You can use it in your own IDE and then apply it. So you can create your own. I'll explain it more in detail during the demo part. And yeah, so either way, you have to use AI. AI automation is no more advantage, but it is a necessity. So if you are not into AI anymore, but then you are into a big trouble in future. So both the parts are for AI only. So key highlights of the session. So examination of recent cybersecurity breaches and statistics, their financial impact, as we discussed. Integration of big analytics. We understood how AI is actually working in its core, in threat analysis and in behavior analysis. We then understood how the traditional cybersecurity SIEM and SOAR can be automated using features like threat analysis, anomaly detection, and user behavior analysis. And in the role of large language models and LLMs, as I said, we can use it in. And hands-on guidance for creating custom, we are going to learn it right now. So, not Q&A right now. I'll go with the... Oh, this is Windsurf. How many of you are using Windsurf or Cursor AI right now? Oh, no one? Okay, so it is an AI-based IDE which helps you to automate tasks. So you can see the code of we have written it in Python. So we are classifying it. It is basically a static model currently, not a dynamic one, of course. So this is the code. We are going to run it, and we are going to see how it is actually working. We are going to basically run app.py. It is going to be hosted. And we have dashboard. It is running correctly. That and dashboard. Dashboard is creating an HTML, and we are connecting both the dots. So basically, this is how it looks like in real life. You can see the threat detection dashboard. So you can see the intrusion, malware, phishing, DOS and ransomware are divided into different areas. And then there is security. As I said, we mark the security based on their how critical they are. So they are given points, and based upon that, we can get a response. And also it creates the graph that how it is working, right? We understood how predictive analysis and data visualization. I hope now you can connect the dots also. And if you need the code, I have I will provide with the GitHub, so you can check it out there. So this is the overall threat report which we are getting. It is medium severity, and it is new malware. So these are different types of we are getting in an application. So this is basically an example, not a real life based on, but we can work on this principle. I'm using pandas library for the data. So we are connecting it with the HTML file and hosting it locally, and then we are running it. And also in notes I have so this is created with the help of Cloud Artifact. How many of you use Cloud Artifact? One. Okay. So as you can see, we can have real-time analysis on a network which is dynamic actually. And dynamic by what we mean is it is actually happening in real life, and data is continuously changing. And if it detects any threat which happens in a spike, we can actually see the anomaly also. We can get the anomaly report also with it. Yeah, anomaly detected, it is saying, right? So this is the example we are going to use. So this can be actually applied in actual companies also. So I have worked with multiple organizations to actually add AI in it. So I think my time is getting over. So I'll go with the slides, and I'll provide you with the GitHub for the code, so you can actually try it by your own. So time for Q&A. Any question? Yes?
Integration perspective. So how we can integrate the different log source and the network traffic with the LLM?
So within
something like that API base, or something like a syslog logs, or how we can do it?
We can also use API. So basically, if we use an API, let's take an example, an organization A. I won't name it. So we can take the API for the organization A, and we can apply it on our data model. And we can also collect the data from the API. And after collecting it, we can use the classification models in AI. It is in advance, but we can actually do it. And also, not even going to even if you don't know any knowledge about AI, much knowledge about AI, you can actually use it in your own Gemini studios, right? You have Gemini Studio, you can create and use Gemini Studios to actually get the CSV files from the API and actually using it for your own purposes. So any more questions? Yes? Dynamic scanning. As I showed, I had AI tool for dynamic scanning for using our own host IP address. Then we are dynamically scanning the anomalies within our network. So this was the example of dynamic scanning in it.
Which tool you used?
I didn't use any tool. I created it using Cloud Artifact.
Okay.
So I use the React Native model, and also integrating it with Python libraries like scikit and all. You can use.
Okay.
Yeah.
With generating the code and all.
Yeah.
Using Cloud Artifact, or
Cloud Artifact you can generate. You can generate it with, and also customize it according to your own organization state. So you can fill the session feedback. And you can also Google me up, Anant Upadhyay, and connect to me on LinkedIn. And also you can find my GitHub only on Google by searching Anant Upadhyay. Yeah. So yeah, you have question?
Hello sir, good afternoon. Sir, I am a cybersec enthusiast and I don't know much about AI. So what aspects of AI I should learn for cybersecurity?
So for cybersecurity, you need to have basic understanding of AI. of how the AI model is actually working. Like I showed AI automation, you have reinforcement learning and all, they are basic. And you have to dive a little bit more into it by understanding regression models and all the other reinforcement training, just basic of it. And then you can actually understand how the model is actually working. Then you can use it effectively for your cybersecurity tools.
So like we should learn machine learning or LLMs like to create the tools like in such way.
Right? You don't need to learn in detail, but you need to have a brief overview so you can understand how the things are working, and you can customize it according to your own needs. Because in these days, you don't need everything to understand, right? Even AI can generate a lot of code, but what is the difference is that you can use the code only if you understand it. So if you understand the code, you can customize it. Definitely.
So the next question is AI a threat for cybersecurity jobs? Like most of the like using AI, we can automate most of our tasks. Using machine learning, AI can learn many vulnerabilities in the application or the website. So is that a threat?
It might take a lot of jobs, but it will create more jobs, because in cybersecurity field especially, you can see nowadays now using AI, how much they are using it for a lot of AI morphing and all, image morphing, changing the images. So you can see the demand of AI, of cybersecurity with the AI. It is parallelly increasing, because also for handling these models, right? As I saw shown, SQL injection and all these things will still work. The old traditional techniques. Yes. Yeah, sure. So thank you everyone for being a good audience. I hope you liked my session, and it will be transforming, and you will use it into your own cybersecurity journey. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Sir, I am having one question, like it is a question come use case.
Yeah.
Like I am using a RCNN model, which is a region-based convolutional neural network, which comes under the NLP and deep learning.
Correct.
So under that, I am training a model, hardware model, and I am broadcasting my object detection data into my Android application.
Yeah.
Right. So all the object detection will be broadcasted into my Android application. So how I am supposed to secure that Android app from the intrusion attacks or other cyber attacks?
Okay. So from cybersecurity point of view, as you said, that you are using RNC model, right?
RCNN.
RCNN. Acha. So you are using it you are training it on your Android application. So for securing it, you can use cybersecurity tools, which like as I said, SIEM and all, and also Mini Orange, as I saw yesterday in conference. Lots of tools are being provided for access management and other endpoint management. So you can use those, of course.
Okay, so I have trained the hardware model with the RCNN model,
Yeah.
and that data I am broadcasting into my Android application. So I'll be using in my Android application itself, right?
Yeah, you can use it in Android application. You can check even in conferences I saw. There were a lot of tools for Android application too. I was searching for actually access management and then endpoint management. Those are important, and also CPM management. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions? I think let's end the session. Thank you.